So, all right, these 5 topics gonna be the ones we discuss today. All right, so we got the Brian Flores thing. You know, the black coach, that whole conundrum. The black coach conundrum. Right? So, okay, so we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Tariq Nasheed and his kind of exposing of the real sentiment towards us in America from, black people in America, from black people outside America. We've been discussing this shit. He kind of been recently kind of showing, without having to explain, showing it. And having the immigrants speaking for themselves. Kind of proving what he's been saying. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense? Mm-hmm. He's not the only one doing it, but the way he's doing it, to me, all right, yeah, so that's going to be the second topic. What else? Did we talk about the Canadian thing? Canadian American thing? I don't think that was one of the topics.
Nah, we didn't really get into
it. The hypochondriac thing, that's what you brought, the whole breeding hypochondriacs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what was that? The natural order versus the man-made thing?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's 4.
So that's 4.
Still need one more.
And
you had said something about doing the men versus women.
Right.
Kid.
So that's 5.
Time to finish what I started. It's a beautiful feeling to know I put my heart in. I'm all in. Picking up the broken pieces. I done had my share of lessons and no life a teacher. This beat be talking to my soul like it was a preacher. This for them late nights on the road, so turn up your speaker flow, call, turn up the heater. Bet on me, go all in. If I try and I fail, I'ma try it again. I won't stop until I win. Time to finish what I started. It's a beautiful feeling to know I put my heart in. I'm all in. Everything I wanna know, I'm really about to have it to it.
So that's 5.
How that connect? We gotta connect all this. I think it need to be something that kind of connects everything to me.
I mean,
instead of just talking about certain subjects and not having a connection.
Well, it all does kind of connect. All this shit connect. All right, let's start the discussion. So number 1, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of, knock out my first 2. You jump on your 2.
You doing 5 minutes?
I ain't say that. We just gonna talk about it real quick. We ain't time it. We just going whatever need to be edited out.
I'm going to time it. I'm going to time it just for what I'm saying.
Whatever. So number 1 was Brian Flores. All right. So you got, that story in itself is this man is raising this lawsuit against the NFL for their treatment of black coaches in general. Pretty much saying they have a rule in order, and he can prove, and from what I heard, it's kind of easy to prove his point, but this whole Rooney Rule where all teams, all owners are required to interview black coaches. You can't just hire a white coach without including black coaches in the hiring pool. Based on the history of them not hiring black coaches. So it's kind of like affirmative action for the NFL. But not really, because affirmative action, you had to actually hire a black person for that to be considered affirmative action. This is just, we gotta interview a black person. So in this particular case, he got some proof that the team had already decided on who they were gonna hire prior to even setting up an interview with this particular coach. And that's kind of all the proof you need, you know, to show that it happens. Whether or not it's systemic, I don't know how you prove that, but in that case, that kind of proves like, okay, we're gonna pick him. We can't make it official until we interview one of these niggas. So let's go ahead and set up the interview with the nigga and get that out the way so we can go ahead and make this official. That whole thing. You know. In that case, he claimed he can prove it. So, you know. All right. So with that being said, it's like, you know, this particular coach, Brian Flores, supposedly was offered throughout this season. They were the coaches or the owners and the president, whatever, was trying to bribe him into losing games. You know, he claimed he could prove that too, offering $100,000 for every game he lost or whatever the case was.
For every game he lost.
Yeah, they was trying to tank, supposedly, allegedly. They was trying to tank so they can get a good draft pick, whatever the case is. So he coached against it. He didn't go with it. So, you know, you have this and you have boat trips. Supposedly, you know, he was on a boat trip with the team, with the owners and shit, and a quarterback that they were looking at getting, a prominent quarterback that they were looking at, you know, trading for or picking up, was on the boat too, which is illegal, whatever the case is. This particular coach said, nah, I ain't fucking with that. You know, this shit is illegal. You know, I ain't, you know, let me out of here type shit. So they doing underhanded things that ain't necessarily, you know, according to the rules. And him being moral, whatever the case is, he ain't doing it. He playing it straight. You know, every time they you know, trying to involve him on some shady shit, he walk away from it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, not to say that he's no saint, but I just feel like, you know, that's one of the real issues that we run into, you know, that make this thing more bigger than just rich and poor. It's bigger than, you know, status and shit. This is some fucking soul shit, right? You know, you go back to that interview. I always go back to that interview from that white woman, man, Kay Griggs. She detailing how her husband, who was a drunk, but was a prominent member in the military, an officer, how he was a drunk, and every time he got drunk, he would just tell her everything, like on a daily basis, to the point where she kind of saw his life. She understood his life. And for like 8 hours or some shit, she just detailed how she saw things, you know, from her perspective, from her husband's perspective, in this prominent position in the government, right? And through all this talking and illustrating his life and the things he went through and the secret societies and all this other shit, and the shit that he had to do to climb those ranks, and, you know, all the sick shit that they go through and they do, and how the whole thing is founded. She detailed all that shit. And one of the things that always stick out in my mind is, you know, whoever was interviewing asked her about black men, you know, where do black men fit into this whole thing? And she was like, no, black men ain't welcome in these circles because they too honest, they too moral. You know? They can't allow them because these organizations wouldn't really be able to exist because niggas got souls, and at some point, you know, on a systemic level, you know, most niggas ain't going with all this crazy shit they be doing to maintain the power. Their power, that whole thing. And I see that in this whole thing. Like,
so you saying that's why he didn't get the job? Because he wouldn't go with the program?
That's what a lot of this shit is based on. When they say boule, that's what boule is. Them niggas that's willing to go there. You know what I'm saying? One of the main reasons that we ain't come up, supposedly, we ain't necessarily trying to do that shit that they be doing. the things that they see as necessary to maintain it, we like, nah, fuck that, I ain't doing that. You know, my soul won't allow me to do that. So how can a whole, like, race of people fit under that category and a whole race of people fit in the other category? Like, you say this like a white structure, white supremacist structure, you know. But here she is, like, kind of proving it. Like, nah, the reason niggas ain't in these things is because they ain't doing that. They ain't allowing somebody to fuck them in the ass and shit just to... And making that part of the program and shit. Like, that's just something I got to do to get where I need to be.
You can't be allowed in it if you ain't allowed to
get down with it. The whole humiliation ritual shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Some niggas is willing to do it.
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
And you see it more often now. Like niggas was doing back then. Richard Pryor and all them niggas. They say it. You know what I'm saying? They did what they had to do. Quincy Jones and them niggas. Them niggas that's prominent, they did what they had to do. And eventually it come out. You know what I'm saying? You know. Eventually shit come out. To play in those circles, you gotta do certain things. And
so what you think about that?
And the beauty of, you know, because I look at the other oppressed people in the world, and I don't see it the same. They have caste systems and shit where we the same race, but you one of those from the other side. So that whole thing. But I was just so like black and white, like it's the obvious oppressed group. We part of that supposedly, or you know, we are, whatever the case is. But all these other nationalities and shit that be willing to go there with these white people, and we still ain't.
So what you think about them?
For the most part,
Lovie Smith, that situation. He got hired by the Houston Texans.
I mean, Lovie Smith is a good coach, but I mean, when the last time he had a team? What he coached the Bears, right? Last head coach.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? Why he ain't had a job since? And why they decide to hire that nigga now? You know, I'm sure they're gonna hire a few more niggas. They have to. It's so silly, man. It's like kids. All right, I'm gonna take you to court for this. All right, so I'm gonna start doing it now, and it'd just be obvious, like fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's like any other corporation, nigga. If we making money and breaking the law, fuck breaking the law, as long as we making more money than we having to pay out. If we make $10 billion and we get a fine for $7 billion, fuck it, pay it.
So would you do what old boy doing?
Who?
Brian.
Would I do it? I mean, at some point somebody gotta do it.
Would you?
It's just one part of it, man. One side of it. Like it's just
15-minute mark.
It's just you know, further illustration of where we at.
How would you handle it if you was Brian? How would you handle it?
Like, okay, so that quarterback that they met on the boat was supposedly Tom Brady. So Tom Brady cool with it. All these white boys, that's whatever we gotta do, nigga.
I mean, you know.
Then we
Tom
white,
Brady
so
poster child. Though.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like. And the only motherfucker who said, nah, this shit is illegal is the black dude. I don't know what his story is and shit, but in that case, it's like he seemed like he the only right one. It seemed to be kind of systemic.
What he taking it to court. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah,
how he gonna handle
if he
that,
played
how
it clean,
get through with that, if he make it to court.
If he played it clean in his career, then he win. You know, unless it's the other thing where they just shut him out. You know,
right? If he make it to court, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, the individual case. I mean, it's setting the precedent, but it's not.
I like the fact that he's fighting for what he believes.
If he playing it straight, right?
Yeah, if he playing it straight, I definitely like the fact that he, you know, fighting his.
Because they gonna dig up everything they can on him now, so it's like they're gonna try to make him look bad and blah blah blah. It's the game, same old game. Just like hiring a bunch of niggas now. Like they hired that one mixed dude and he don't know whether he black or what. That nigga spoke for like 5 minutes and was like, I mean, you know, my dad's black, but blah 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 blah. It's like,
I guess that all you can do is pay attention and see what happened through this shit. That's the 15-minute mark for that.
right. So yeah, you know, that's just one thing. But all right. So
Yeah, 15 minutes sound like it's pretty fair.
then you got, you know, Tariq Nasheed and this whole immigrant thing. So did you listen to the thing? No.
I was listening to it.
So did you get a kind of idea with?
I don't know if I got far enough into it, cause
Well, he been doing his last few been kind of involved in that, but that one was just they just got right into it.
Cause I just heard a lot of shit talking back and forth.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing. You gotta listen to it in its entirety to get a full picture of it.
Right.
A lot of people just walking in now and it's just like, oh, here go this nigga with this nigga turning black people against black people shit. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta understand it you gotta have been paying attention for the last few years to kind of see how the conversation been going. You know what I'm saying?
I know he's saying that, African immigrants have been talking real greasy about what they call them, foundational black Americans.
Yeah, that's his term.
Especially toward the women.
It ain't have been. That's kind of nigga in Sugar Hill. They discussed that shit.
But you talking about the movie?
Yeah. Wesley Snipes. They kept calling them niggas a cotter.
All right. Do you have anything constructive to say?
I have a question to ask you.
Okay. Before you ask your question, you're going to have to answer mine. Why do you have so much vitriol towards foundational black American women?
First, answer my question.
Ma'am, you answer my question.
This is all it is. I'm like back and forth.
Yeah, you only cut a little piece. You have to
off my page. You're not going to ask my questions. You're gonna have to answer my questions. I'm not gonna let you babble, ma'am. This is not the immigration office.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to answer some questions because I don't want to.
If you just listen to that little piece, you look at it like this nigga is just antagonizing and shit, like immature, whatever the case is. But there's a bigger discussion being had. He be proud of them niggas because he want to know how they really feel. They come and try to articulate one point, but in the back of their mind, they feel how they feel. So he do his damnedest, and I think he great at it, to get them niggas to say how they really feel.
You need to find one.
Find one what?
You need to find one where
what the fuck I need to? I gave you goddamn, what you mean?
You just gave me that one.
You ain't even listen to the whole thing. Why I gotta find
I'm listening
something?
to it. That's why I was trying to listen to it. That's as far as I got right there. Cause it's like, what? Know what I'm saying? We need to find another one where he's actually where
I don't need to do shit. You just need to listen to it.
I need to find one where it starts at the beginning. Cause like I said, I can't. Cause it's 35 minutes. I got 10 minutes into it. I ain't but 10 minutes in my letter.
So it's on me to what?
No, I'm saying I said we need to find.
You, nigga. You said
well, we
you.
need to find one where it starts at the beginning so we can see how it led up to this right here to this.
Well, that's my point.
Back and forth.
Even if you got into the listen. So all right. So even if you get into it just on the last week, you won't get a full understanding. Like this is the ADOS thing. This is the fucking. What's her name? Sheila, whatever, from Jamaica, who's Sheila Jackson Lee, whatever. That whole the bill to study reparations, this is, Dr. Claude Anderson, this is N Cobra, all these niggas. This is that conversation that been going on since fucking the first 40 Acres and a Mule. That's how it all connect. What he's doing is showing that it's all valid. The argument that Martin Luther King was having back then, Martin Luther King is a big reason why immigrants can come freely like they do. You know what I'm saying? Stokely Carmichael. I think he's from Jamaica or some shit. He came back then. He understood the struggle. He was 100% behind us. lately, when they come, they look down on us because that's what the propaganda is. So when they come, they don't have an understanding of all that shit. For the most part. Not even for the most part. Some part. The part that gets shown. You know, some... Weather shit.
Child abduction, bro.
Oh, man. You know the government got them. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just where we currently at. You know what I'm saying? And it's him kind of shedding light on the fact that like you got Joe Biden with the crack pipes, right? We got all of these little pieces of evidence that we in it alone. But we fight that whole thing.
Wait a minute, say that we in it alone, but we fight the whole thing of...
We got all these illusional options that ain't really options, but we gravitate to those for comfort and shit. Like, you know,
we fighting against something that's not there?
No,
what you saying? You said
we distracted by things that ain't there.
Distracted by things that ain't there.
Yeah, throwing off the motherfucking thing.
You think that's playing that way?
As far as this Tariq Nasheed thing, you know, another part of that whole thing is how he establishes that they come here from wherever they from with the idea of beacon of light, land of the free and shit. So, you know, even though they connected to their particular culture, they don't see us as part of that. So they look at us from the economic standpoint as opposed to race and shit. Mm-hmm. We looked at as economically, we need to stay away from these people. Don't get caught up in the fact that they look like you and they might be whatever. Economically, they on the bottom. Don't even deal with them. Keep your eyes on the prize. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all the cultures look at it like that. You know, how, you know, I don't know. Yeah, but so when Tariq get into the conversations with him, it's like they justify the contempt they feel for us. And they try to, you know, he kind of forced them to give examples of how, you know, their culture is better than ours, or they contribute more, or whatever the case is. Whatever their argument is, he flip it on them. And ultimately, they all end up blaming their belief on, you know, the government. Like, okay, I need you to listen to it so you could kind of see the dynamics. You could kind of get where I'm coming from. It's hard to explain, but, you know, the nigga came up with the song, the government, as a joke, because they blame the same people who we blame, but we don't get credit when we blame them. All y'all niggas just crying about the government, white people. Pull your bootstraps and all that shit. But when it come down to it, the whole reason that they left from where they came from is for the fucking government, because they was oppressed.
Same reason we
difference is we don't flee, we fight.
Right, we
they
stay
flee
right here and
deal with it.
Fight for what's right.
Instead, but they leave. Oh, the government oppressing us, so we had to leave. But y'all ain't shit because y'all still fighting y'all government and they winning. Like, it's like, nigga, you realize what you just said? You know what I'm saying?
So what you want to do? Trade places?
What you mean?
I'm just saying what they want to do. Trade places. Y'all come over here. We go over there.
No, that shows how much of the movement, how much of the shit that they say is cowardice. You know, that's some coward shit.
To run from the fight.
Your government is supposedly oppressing you, so you flee here, and instead of treating the government here how you treated them or looking at them the same way, you kiss the government ass and shit on us to get, you know, grace from our government. That's like I live with this family and my family be abusing me, fucking me up, treating other kids good and shit. I'ma flee my house and go to your house and, you know, your family abuse you and mistreat you too. But to get good graces with your family, I'ma abuse you and mistreat you too.
But that's what I'm saying.
Hold up, man. Did you hear what I just said? Like, we gotta talk about this. Like, coward. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I hear you. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but what I was about to say, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
I'm done. I just want you to hear it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What is... Okay, as far as the cowardly go, what are you fleeing from? Are you fleeing from the fact that your government does not allow you to do the shit that goes on here?
Well, that's a good question. What are you fleeing from?
You see what I'm saying?
If it was just some niggas
because listen, Africa don't play that motherfucking homosexuality shit. Are you coming here so you can be...
We ain't gonna get sidetracked on that.
I'm just saying, are you coming here because you get certain
asked a good
perks
question
here that you don't get there when it comes to moral standards? Cause
what, if you gay or something?
Or whatever it may be. Whatever, because you can...
Oppression. Whatever oppression is.
Because you can...
Hold up, man. I like that question you asked. Like, damn it, I don't forgot now.
Moral oppression.
What are you fleeing from? Okay. If you ask the question, what are you fleeing from? If it was just a few random niggas like from Congo and from fucking Nigeria, whatever, and it only happened in those one or two or three countries, it would be one thing. But that seemed to be consensus. The motherfuckers that come over here come with that opinion. So that's not something that they necessarily learned in their own culture. It seemed more international. That's the word that's being pumped out. You know, the government vetting who they bring over. I need to know your mindset before I bring you over here. You fuck with niggas? Oh, no. You fuck with niggas? Yeah, I don't niggas, those my brothers. Oh, nah, that nigga can't come. You fuck with niggas? Oh, no, my parents taught me well. I stay away from the Akata. Let them on through. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, okay.
That's how it is.
Well, how that relates to the whole, you know, bigger thing like you said. You know, he exposing that from their own mouth. You got Italians from Italy calling this nigga to tell him how niggas ain't shit and Italians need to be thanked for where niggas are in the world today, in America. And this nigga, Tariq Nasheed, makes him look like an absolute fool. Because he is. The dude is smart enough to, you know, he know enough history to be able to combat all these crazy... If you don't know enough, these motherfuckers will win the argument. You know what I'm saying? If we have a debate and you know more about history, regardless of whether I'm right or wrong, if you know more about it, you can craft the conversation to make it seem like you're right. If that makes sense. And that's what a lot of us go through. That's how the white Jews could walk around in a black neighborhood and claim themselves as Hebrew and shit. And, you know, and they don't get no pushback. Because niggas don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If niggas knew, they wouldn't be able to do that.
If you don't know about it.
There it is. So, that go with American history and as a whole. If you don't know, you know, then you could be right as a motherfucker. But if you don't know that you're right or how you right, or you don't have the information to connect the dots to prove that you're right, then they could be wrong as fucking win. And that's what America is. So, all right, so we gonna move on to your thing. Let me read this little letter real quick, just to kind of bring it around. All right, this is a comment that was on one of Tariq Nasheed joints. From this guy. A big shout out and huge love and respect to the African American community residing in America. I'm from India, a whole another part of the world, but I have always looked up to your community for strength and guidance growing up. And your culture has played a huge role on my growth and wisdom. So thank you. Heart, heart, heart. I know there are pressing issues that's still going on out there, like gang violence and drugs, but I guess that's the case in all parts of the world. I hope everything gets better out there. More power and love to every one of my black brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, children, and grandparents. You know what I'm saying? So, my reason for reading that shit was, there's people around the world that get it. But the ones that seem to, permeate is the negative ones. So, while it's necessary for him to expose how people see it and, the things that affect us, like it ain't just about emotions and feelings and shit, legislation and all that shit. You got some woman from Jamaica who's in the American Congress playing a role for the establishment to look like she trying to do work for black people when she know and everybody else around her know it's for nothing. It's a game. If she was from here, she would probably be pushing a little harder for it. You feel what I'm saying?
Who we talking about?
Sheila Jackson Lee. She been in control of this whole reparations study shit for years and years and years, and they ain't did shit yet. So she's able to, like Congress had, people speaking on the topic. And, some Puerto Rican dude came up there and spoke against it. If you got real niggas in Congress, those people ain't gonna be able to fucking show their face. Because niggas see through it. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna have somebody from Puerto Rico speaking against legislation for reparations for black people? You know what I'm saying? But because we got coons in that motherfucker who working for them people, the shit is allowed. Mm-hmm. And all we see is what we see.
That is some shit right there.
You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, man.
Damn,
the game, man. Shit. The game and how they play it.
A whole nother race speaking against.
I mean, he should have his opinion.
Another race.
He shouldn't be in front of the
for another race. A whole nother race speaking against another race for another race.
Race or whatever. I'm talking about nationality. He from a fucking a USA. What was it? Puerto Rico is what? When we just own it. Mm-hmm. It's not a state. Something got to that whole thing. The fuck is he doing speaking for that? Why he ain't speaking for Puerto Rico? Whatever the case is.
Right. No, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? But that's my truth. Now we gonna get to your the hypochondriac thing.
My thing with the hypochondriac thing is, of course, you know what a hypochondriac is. It's the fear of.
Man, look at the definition, man. Some people don't know what a hypochondriac is.
The hypochondriac. Define hypochondriac.
Here's the definition of hypochondriac. A person who is abnormally anxious about their health.
Oh. Abnormally anxious about their health. The fear of being unhealthy. So.
No, that's not what it is. Not the fear of being unhealthy. It's always thinking you sick for abnormal reasons.
Well, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. My thing is, if you're always constantly thinking of that, eventually that's gonna bring on some type of sickness. Mm-hmm. Just stress. From the stress of thinking about it, the stress, the fear of thinking about it. it's gonna bring on some type of sickness. So that brings me to the point of this whole, all these so-called pandemics. You know, when you keep pushing something, you keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Now people get to really, you know what I'm saying, thinking about being sick. You know, you get a daggum piece of lint in your motherfucking nose and start sneezing, or in your throat, and your throat gets scratchy just from a little piece of dust. You, I'm sick. I feel some type of way. You get a little headache. I feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? So next thing you know, you sick because you done stressed yourself out. And that goes back to the hypochondriac. I mean, we even, and for this whole pandemic, we've been talking about the stuff is coming from other places, but yet and still you letting people into the country like that, which I'm sure is another anxious emotion that people are having. Like, oh, you letting these people in? You're gonna get us sick by letting these people in. You letting all these people, because this stuff is coming from over there. At least that's what they say. It's coming from here, there, over, not in this country. Mm-hmm. So now you're breeding sickness, stress.
You're breeding hypochondria.
Hypochondriacs, the anxious stress of your health.
Yeah, but what if it's warranted? What if people really getting sick? Is it necessary?
What, to continue to keep
people
talking about it?
Yeah.
No, because, I mean, that's natural. People get sick.
Oh, people been getting the flu and stuff.
People been getting sick.
Oh, it ain't nothing new for people to get sick.
It's nothing new. So why keep, why keep
but what if
bang it on your goddamn head that...
What if it's killing people, though?
Sickness been killing people. What's new?
Right.
Give me something new. I mean, the numbers show that it ain't killed no more than the flu has.
Well, we know we can trick numbers, so.
Right. But that's only, I mean, you think about the whole, when this shit first started, man.
What do you think came up with the saying, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie?
I don't know.
Because numbers be lying.
I know where I heard it from, but I don't know who came up with it.
Numbers don't lie? Never?
No, yeah. Numbers definitely don't lie.
You could work them bitches out to lie. Like
I said that when Jay first said that shit. I was like, man.
Well, see, it ain't
can't lie.
It's not the numbers that's lying. It's the interpretation. It's how you interpret the numbers. Like that whole absolute. What do you
absolute zero?
Nah, you got the what is it? That relative risk reduction and absolute risk reduction. That whole shit, like, you got two. It's just so fucking stupid.
But we've been saying this whole time, though, Riley.
But it's so legal.
Don't be afraid. People stop being afraid. But at this point, I think people aren't afraid of this shit anymore.
Afraid of what?
This whole COVID shit. I think people coming out of that shit, man, of being scared of it.
You think they got enough people with the shot where they like, fuck it?
I've been said that. I think they got what they wanted, the numbers that they feel like they needed. But I mean, there's so many other factors that can go with this. You know what I'm saying?
Go what?
This whole hypochondriac thing. I mean, you start manipulating weather. You start manipulating Bill Gates talking about blotting out the sun. I mean, they put this
what
shit
that got
out.
to do with the hypochondriac?
I mean, because we've been for the past few years. I think a lot of people have started to learn that certain elements help our health. We're starting to really learn that shit. Like, you need sun for vitamin D. Now this nigga come talking about blotting out the damn sun. Like, oh shit, they doing this shit. You creating a hypochondriac.
I don't know.
Motherfuckers, you need carbon in the world for the fucking, even for the plants to damn survive. And then all of a sudden you talking about, oh, we gonna try to cut carbon. You know what I'm saying? Cut carbon. Now you got people, oh shit, they doing this, but what are we doing to stop it? I mean, who am I to damn say?
Hey man, don't be doing that.
But what are we doing to stop it?
Oh man, you be doing that shit.
I'm
too,
just
man.
saying. We talked about it, so why not do it?
Hey, he kind of just trying to hijack my shit, man.
Whatever, man.
Who the fuck am I? That whole thing.
I'm just bringing it up.
All right.
You know, yeah, you came up with it, but
I didn't come up with it in this context, whatever the case is. All right, so I see what you're saying with them. All right, so let's something we're gonna have to look at again.
Yeah, because this hypochondriac is I can see it. You can see it, man. People walk, and me and my man on the job, we say it all the time, bro. We riding around, we see people in their car by themselves with masks on. Like, damn, if that ain't some scary shit, you really that scared that you riding around with your mask on in the car by yourself? You walking down the street, walking your dog by yourself with a mask on.
Check it out. So my homeboy, right? We was having a discussion through text, via text, on books. You know. I asked him, he told me he was reading that book by RFK about Fauci. So I asked him if he been reading books or he just feeling compelled, after this whole situation. And, he said, well, he been, not really. He read one every once in a while, but not really. But he was in the middle of RFK joint. And this is what he said. And, I ain't gonna say no names, obviously. Please forgive me for saying it. It's just important. Whatever the fuck. He said, the RFK book really upsets me. Thinking back on how I didn't even question all the vaccines we let them give our kids. So, all right. So what the Fauci book is exposing is how, Robert Kennedy Jr. book, Fauci, whatever the fuck, is exposing how this ain't necessarily new. If you just been playing the game and shit, doing what you told, blah blah blah, doing what you gotta do, getting your money and shit, you ain't had no reason necessarily to feel uncomfortable with things, cause ain't none of it really in your face. What the book is showing is this shit been in play for a long, back to AIDS and shit, 80s, nigga. Like, regardless of what happened before that, this thing been in play for 40 something years. This one guy, Fauci, been in the game playing his part for the last 40 fucking years. So you look back through your life, like he said, it's like, oh shit, like, I had no idea. And like we said before, like, nigga, I've been getting shots all my life and shit, ain't la la la. How the fuck you know? How you know you ain't been affected? You know what I'm saying? If we all under the same shit, how we know we not being affected? Like, we talk about olden times with frequencies and shit, the pyramids and shit, like whitewashing, all the shit. So he going through it now, like,
deep, man.
When you see it and you look back, just the shit that they covered in the book, you gotta rethink that whole thing. And then everything that come from that, you gotta rethink that whole thing. Like, who's these people that's doing this shit? Like,
Lord frequencies.
You know what I'm saying? And you say how we gotta make this shit all connect, which you right, but it all fucking connect. It's all the same shit. It's all the same game.
Yeah.
So, all right. So so you peep the the podcast from. We gonna have to put the shit in the notes, man.
Which one?
The women's thing.
Which one?
Black women, black men thing.
What about it?
That was the topic, eh?
I mean, but all that, just what I'm saying, even stuff like that plays into, because you just said something big when you was talking about the frequencies.
What, man?
I mean, even with this whole, man, I've been kind of researching frequencies, bro.
All right.
I've been doing research on frequencies where they saying that, you know, you have healing frequencies. You know, I even think I said something to you one time about Earth's frequency.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? And it's harmonious. If we're not in a harmonious frequency, you're going to have chaos.
Oh, so you talking like the reversing rivers and shit?
That shit too. That's what I'm saying. All this shit play together.
And how, like,
because I mean, even the roar from a river is a frequency. Mm-hmm. So if it's going a certain direction, it's supposed to be that naturally. But if you take that river and you dam it up and you turn it this way, you change the frequency.
Change a whole lot.
Which can, and you know, men and women aren't. We have different. Let me see.
We go about different.
We go about things different ways. So when you change the frequency, then you're gonna have men and women at each other. You see what I'm saying? Because the frequency,
down the line, I see that. Oh, but that
shit all
whole,
plays together.
That whole
even with the immigration shit, they not understanding what they doing because their frequency's been changed.
Who's that?
I'm just saying. Who am I to say it? But I'm just saying that's a possibility. And then back to the shot. Who's to say that these shots aren't disturbing your eardrums or what you see or how you receive things? You know what I'm saying? Who's to say? Like I say, I don't know. I'm just completely no, but
you know,
you start fucking with the weather, that changes the frequencies.
I listen to some some shit, and they was saying how Buddhist monks could raise their body temperature so much that it melt the snow around them. You think you could do that?
I mean, if you work with the right person who know how to do it, you probably could. You can learn how to.
What you think you would have to do some shit like that?
Well, you know, the Marines, they go through training to be able to withstand hypothermia. So I'm sure some type of training you got to go through. Some hellified training.
SEALs and shit. They swim in the icy cold water every day.
Right. It's some type of training. Well, I seen a documentary on it where the Navy SEALs, they would press their hands together and
try to
generate.
My point in asking, like, you know, what you think you got to do that is like, nigga, we watch TV and eat fucking bullshit and watch football.
Yeah, it's gonna take time. You got to take time to yourself to hone that.
So we have that
ability.
example, right? We have that example was possible.
Last 15. Yeah, it would take time, man. You would have to get away from, shut the TV off, shut this off, shut that off, and get to yourself and actually focus on the shit. You know what I'm saying? Just get away from all the noise. You gotta get away from the noise, get away from the distractions, put that phone down, put that social media down, and be to yourself. And it probably don't, I mean, from what I've been reading, it don't take that much time, you know what I'm saying? 15, 20, 25 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, and just hone in on, I mean, you could do it with your eyes open or you do it with your eyes closed. But
watching old movies, man, that shit lets you see how fucking hyper speed we are, man. You know what I'm saying? Even how a movie was produced, presented, is slow and, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's an action scene, it's, you know what I'm saying? Our shit is super drive now. Like,
I mean, but I think a lot of this shit was already in progress years and years before. It's just starting to come out.
well,
Or they starting to introduce it.
My point of saying that is, we look at, you know, what done changed. Even our movement done changed. Even our expectations, you know. Just in 100 years, you know.
You said our expectations.
Yeah, like, you know.
Expectations.
Our movements, like, of the world, like.
We don't move the same.
We move fast, nigga. We think fast. We expect fast. I don't know. It's just be things to point out. I could tell you how, you know.
I mean, it's like this whole warp drive thing they talking about. This warp speed shit. I'm trying to figure out. Me and my man was talking like, is that even possible? We read about it and was coming up with our own scenarios of how the shit would work, how it's possible. They talking about plasma matter, neutrons and electrons being crashed together to cause an explosion, making the field in front of you smaller and expanding it behind you in order to slingshot yourself. Shit is crazy, man. It's nuts, bro. But it sounds like it's possible. Actually, because they say it'll take I think we're like 3 months to get from here to Mars or from here to some planet. Like they say it take like 3 months, but they trying to cut that down.
Man, they don't know what the fuck they do.
I'm just saying they trying to cut it down by developing warp speed. I mean, it all makes sense though.
What makes sense?
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Even with the whole, because I was explaining to old boy about the graphene, because he didn't know nothing about it.
Them niggas ain't been in the moon.
I mean, he asked that question too.
Who asked what?
The dude I'm talking about, he asked that question, do we think we've ever really been to the moon? I was like, I don't know. I've heard about the Van Allen belt, but they sit there and say that it's possible to go through the Van Allen belt.
Who said it?
Google. My favorite trusty friend Google say that it's possible to get through the Van Allen belt.
Ask that bitch. Ask her now.
I'm telling you, she gonna say hell yeah, nigga. She gonna say yeah, nigga.
Just like how you said it just now. Is it possible to travel through?
Is it possible to travel through the Van Allen belts?
According to Forbes, the Van Allen belts are not a physical barrier to spacecraft, and so, in principle, we could have sent the Apollo spacecraft through the belts.
In principle, we could have.
Siri, are you full of shit?
This ain't Siri, nigga.
Who's that?
This is it Siri?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's an Android, so I don't know who the fuck.
Who is Siri?
Siri is
iPhone
and Alexa. I think this is. I don't know who this bitch is.
Hey, phone bitch. Are you full of shit?
And so,
listen.
In principle, we could have sent the Apollo spacecraft through the Van Allen belt. Could.
So, bitch ain't even give you a straight answer, huh?
Right. She didn't give me a straight answer.
So,
the problem with the Van Allen belt lies
like
not
that?
in them being impassable, but in the charged particles they contain.
Which means absolutely nothing. Can we or can we not?
Damn, did she just not say that the Apollo did not go?
About Sputnik. Did Sputnik go to the moon? Ask her. Ask that bitch.
Did Sputnik go to the moon?
According history.com, the Soviet space program went on to achieve a series of other space firsts in the late 1950s and early 1960s. First man in space, first woman, first 3 men, first spacewalk, first spacecraft to impact the moon, first to orbit the moon, first to impact Venus, and first craft to soft land on the moon.
So they landed on the moon then?
That's your answer. Ain't that what she said? She said first craft.
Ask that bitch if Sputnik crossed the motherfucking Van Allen belts.
Let me see. The launch, the Soviet Union
Ask her, man.
Kicked off the space.
And she gonna say they could have. They may have.
That's not Neil Armstrong and Buzz stepped onto the surface of the moon on July 6, 1969.
Hey, ask that bitch if Sputnik crossed the Van Allen belts.
Did Sputnik cross the Van Allen belts?
According to McGill School of Computer Science, Sputnik 2 was not able to detect the Van Allen radiation belts as it traveled far enough to the north such that it was under most of the radiation belt while it was monitorable from the USSR. It carried no tape recorder.
So how the fuck do you know if it didn't have no tape recorder?
It sounds like she just goddamn said they didn't do it without saying they didn't do it. If they did it, she would have said yes.
Yeah, you would think so. That would be the logical quick answer. Like, yes, Sputnik did cross the Van Allen belt and make it to the moon.
Yeah. So if I ask my pops, hey, you cooked that turkey? And he said, I went to the refrigerator and pulled the turkey out and let the turkey thaw out in the refrigerator in the sink for 2 days. And then I basted the turkey and prepared the turkey for the oven and set the oven at 350. And and that's the end of the goddamn transmission. Then I'm assuming he ain't cooked that motherfucker.
The turkey had had 2 legs, 2 wings, 2 breasts, 2 thighs.
Heated up to the temperature of 350 and concluded with
and of course the temperature of 350 will cook will cook through the turkey.
I cleaned the
and be ready to eat. And be ready to eat as soon as it warms down.
Accordingly.
Hey man, I don't know,
man. Is the goddamn turkey done?
I don't know, bro. I asked the question, and this is what this shit give you, man. It give you these answers that are just
right.
That's
I'll
all
tell
I
you
can
what
say.
you want to know without telling you what you want to know.
Right. And then you keep asking certain questions, and then you find out deeper and deeper that this motherfucker don't know.
Don't know shit. That bitch don't know nothing. Why do you think they made it a woman voice?
Because that voice is more easy and readily to believe, to trust, for some reason. Because that's the
Ask that bitch, why are you a bitch and not a man? Ask her. Ask her.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember what. No,
man,
I'm gonna ask the question.
Subject,
I'm trying to ask the question, but I'm trying to remember what this one is. It's not Siri. It's not Alexa. It's
Google, nigga. Google, why you a woman and not a man?
Why does Google use a woman's voice instead of a man's?
According to Futurism, according to Google Assistant product manager Brant Ward, Google initially planned to launch Assistant with a male voice. The problem, he told Business Insider, was that the audio produced by text-to-speech systems was easier to understand if delivered in a higher-pitched, female-sounding voice.
Right.
Easier to understand in a higher-pitched, female-sounding voice.
That's plausible.
Higher pitches.
Because I used to hate, I still kind of hate that old shit. When Kanye came out with, his little that high-pitched shit, I hate that shit. Still do. So there's that.
I don't like these high-pitched rappers.
There's that. I feel the same way. Oh, maybe there's something to that.
I mean, you think when you in your mother's womb, that's the first voice you hear.
There you go.
I'm just saying, that's the first voice you hear, nigga.
That ain't got nothing to do with it.
Man, they treating us like babies out here, like kids.
Okay, maybe that's yeah. Okay, you getting somewhere.
I know. You ain't gotta tell me.
Right.
I know what I'm saying.
Okay, I didn't connect that. But okay.
Of course you didn't.
Right. It's like they treating us like babies and shit.
Yeah. How did you say it? Old boy said we domesticated. Domesticated. Animals ain't nothing but like babies. Dogs are like fucking babies to you, to their owner.
Right. Wow. Definitely something to that.
Yeah. I can't stand that fucking pitchy ass damn rap shit.
And all of them sound like that, man.
I poopy baby. I pee
Hey,
baby.
you know, I ain't
Pee in
gonna
the
say
bed.
no names. I was with a friend of mine, man. She
Well, who am I?
She almost my age, and she be listening to that stupid shit. I just be like, cut it the fuck out. You don't like this shit. Stop it. What you mean? You know, come on, man. Ain't no way. Don't try to like it for me, cause I don't like it. I'm gonna tell you that straight up. It's all fucking feminine and emotional and shit.
But yeah, man.
It is y'all rules, like, you know?
Right, no more of that. No more. They got rid of him. DMX.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Shit fucked up.
Dog, I meet. The street.
I mean, money bag, yo, you know, he go hard.
Slash. Cocoa Puff Sweet. But, yeah, man, we're an hour in, so.
He don't be talking that gay shit.
It was cool, man.
Let me touch on the male-female thing.
We'll touch on that later, because it associated so much with the frequency thing that I think that's why I feel like that's a good reason to why it's like that. Why the male and the female, and even the kids. Why the kids, you know, are off. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to how they interact with the parents. Man, shit, I'm sure it's got a touch on how everybody interacts with each other, in a sense.
Oh, thank God. The Vatican said the vaccine is more morally acceptable. Yes. Damn, I'm tripping. What you was saying?
It's all good. But yeah, we're gonna touch on some more stuff later, man. On another edition of Muddy Water TV. Peace.